Tonight, we know one of the highest paid State Department of Education employees does not have a formal contract.
The man in question is the State Department of Education's Chief Policy Advisor, Matt Langston. News 4's Spencer Humphrey is here with why it took a subpoena from state lawmakers to learn all of this. Spencer?
Well, yeah, Kevin and Jolene, for the second time since Ryan Walters took over as state superintendent last year, state lawmakers have had to subpoena him to turn over information that belongs to the public. Walters' response to that subpoena revealed OSDE is paying his former campaign manager a lot of money with no formal strings attached.
Matt Langston is the puppeteer. He's the guy that pulls Ryan Walters' strings.
State Representative Mark McBride not holding back on how he feels about one of the highest paid people working at Oklahoma's State Department of Education.
He's a guy that sits in Georgetown, Texas in his house. And he, from what I understand, he doesn't come up here.
Before he became OSDE's chief policy advisor, Matt Langston worked as Ryan Walters' campaign manager. You may remember we reported earlier this year OSDE is paying two public relations firms hundreds of thousands in taxpayer dollars to prop up Walters' national political profile. McBride says Langston has ties to both.
They're all former people that he has worked for.
It's why he says he wanted documentation of what exactly OSDE is paying Langston to do.
The guy's making over $100,000 a year, and there's no job description for what he's supposed to do.
In March, he sent this email to OSDE requesting, among other things, Langston's employment contract. OSDE responded to him with a 2-bullet point answer, telling McBride from January to June of last year, Langston served as a temporary employee and his hours and pay varied each month. Since then, they told him Langston has been a part-time employee with benefits.
I didn't get a contract. His pay stubs aren't up to date.
Even though OSDE described Langston to McBride as part-time, his most recently published pay stub from February says he worked 182 hours over 4 weeks, or about 45 hours a week. But the Oklahoma Employment Security Commission says anyone who works more than 32 hours a week is a full-time employee, not part-time. McBride followed up several times, but never got Langston's employment documents. So last week, he, along with House Speaker Charles McCall, filed this subpoena, demanding Walters turn them over.
You'll never receive one of these from the House if you just deliver the information.
Walters responded to the subpoena on Thursday.
The answer that was sent back to us today was no, there is no contract.
Walters wrote in his response that Langston was a direct hire with OSDE and did not complete an application or sign a contract or agreement for employment. In that response, he attacked McBride for asking for the documents, calling him misinformed and claiming he lied.
You know, from using taxpayer funds for self-promotion to hiring your campaign consultant to just multiple things. I don't know how that flies with anybody.
Well, in his response letter, Ryan Walters attached a January 2023 job posting for the Chief Policy Advisor role, which described some of the duties of the job.
However, the last paragraph of job posting notes the posting should not be interpreted as being any sort of employment contract or agreement, and that it did not include an exhaustive list of all the possible duties of the job.